Would you like to know the big secrets about how to be successful in domestic related cases? Domestic cases are those ones, some PIs think they are yucky, dirty, not so glamorous, while others think they are the coolest cases to do because there is a lot of undercover type of work to be done. That undercover work consists of following spouses into bars, restaurants, and other places and getting the goods, the video, and the money shot with their super secret spy cameras like this one. And all that intrigue can lead to a lot of exciting, adrenaline rushing, high heart rate type of moments. Making sure you have a good covert camera like this one or like this one is very important to be successful if you're doing a lot of domestic related surveillance cases. And if you want more information on these types of cameras, then check out my website www.freeprivateinvestigatortraining.com. Go to the PI Gear page and you can see all the surveillance equipment I use. Now, while these gadgets are very important, they are not the most important thing you need to be successful in doing domestic related surveillance cases. Almost all surveillance cases always start out with stationary surveillance. Sitting in your car, hunkered down, watching out those dark tinted windows, waiting for your subject to leave. Once they leave, you then quickly shift to mobile surveillance and the chase is on. And you have to keep up with them no matter where they go, what they do, or how crazy they drive. In most domestic surveillance cases, unlike insurance type cases, you have one shot and one shot only. If you lose them, there may not be a second chance. If they notice you, then the gig is up for sure and the client will not be happy for sure. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. While it is important to not lose your subject or get burned when doing insurance-related surveillance cases, it is usually not the end of the world. With insurance cases, especially ones like workers' comp, slip and fall, and other injury-related matters, you usually get multiple days to go out on the assignment. And if you get any video of your subject, there's a good chance you will get that case back again. And if you get burned on any insurance case, well, you can always go out with another car, hire a subcontract investigator to cover the remainder, or worst case scenario, the case gets reassigned and then you move on to the next case. With domestic related surveillances though, if you get burned, well, the gig is pretty much up. There is a good chance the person you are watching will put two and two together and figure out why you were following them. And then regardless of whether anything is going on or not, the chances of reconciliation for your client and the subject may be very low. So being able to stay covert while on surveillance, both stationary and mobile, is very important to be successful as a private investigator who does domestic surveillance. But it's not the most important factor. One of the most important components for being successful doing domestic related investigations is pricing. Now, I have said many times in the past in many of my videos, whatever you do, never compromise your pricing, and I still believe that is a huge policy to have and maintain. But when it comes to domestic related cases, sometimes you need to get creative with pricing while not compromising pricing. One thing you need to keep in mind if you're going to do these types of investigations is the time frame of when that surveillance will need to be done. Generally speaking, that time frame is going to be evenings, weekends, and weekend evenings. And this type of schedule can really become a huge hindrance to your overall schedule because of one very important fact. Usually with domestic related cases, the window of opportunity is much smaller than with other types of investigations. Take injury claim surveillance jobs, for instance. With those, just about any time from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. is usually good times to be out doing surveillance. Obviously, you need to pick the times that make the most sense to start and work the case, but most of them have start times around 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and end times around 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. If the subject is a night owl, then later start times are better. But if you think they may be working somewhere, taking kids to school, have more of a normal lifestyle, then early start times make sense. But with these domestic related cases, the client is usually going to know when the subject may be going out for a rendezvous with someone. If the client thinks they will meet their partner Saturday evening for dinner, it does not make sense to start surveillance on Saturday morning at 6 a.m. In this case, you would most likely need to start around 4 or 5 5 in the afternoon and plan to end by 8 or 9 p.m. So you may only be working 6 or maybe only 4 hours on the case rather than getting a full 8-hour day in. Now, 4-hour days are nice from time to time, but it can cut into the profit margins and the bottom line as you most likely budget assuming you're going to work full days most days. One good workaround that can help aid that problem is to work more than one job on that day, but that can come back and bite you in the rear if you are not careful. I do not recommend trying to do a regular daytime surveillance that starts at 6 a.m. with a planned end time at 2 p.m. and then scheduling that domestic case to start at 4 p.m. The big problem with this is Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and I can almost guarantee you that that early case will run late. And you can't just reschedule the domestic case. It has to be worked when it has to be worked. Also, working 2 cases back to back like that can have huge detrimental effects both on you physically and mentally, which can make things dangerous. So what can you do? Well, what I would do is maybe have some serves planned for me to go out and do prior to that 4 p.m. start time. Routine process serves are very flexible usually, and I can schedule them time-wise and location-wise so that they will end around the same time and near the location where the surveillance starts. Now, I know not all of us do process serving, so what else can you do? I might try to schedule my report time, video editing time, and other billable desk work for that day. If I worked a full day of surveillance on Thursday and Friday, I can do that report and that video work early Saturday afternoon, which allows me to have more billable hours in the day, and it is also more flexible work. Staying flexible in your schedule is very important in being successful if you're going to do domestic-related investigations, to be sure. You will have to be able to do 4 or 6 hour jobs if you're going to take these on. Clients are not going to pay you for 8 hours of surveillance if they know the window of opportunity is only 3 or 4 hours. Listen up though, here is one other facet to flexibility in these types of investigations that you need to keep in mind. You see, in most of these types of cases, the client has been suspicious and thinking about what may or may not be happening for a very long time. And usually they are observing and documenting and trying to figure out things on their own. At first, they may be in denial. They are hoping it's just paranoia, but then they start to recognize patterns in their partner's behavior. Then it hits them. My wife started going out with the girls for a few drinks suddenly on Friday evenings a while back, but then every other Friday evening she started coming home later. Or my husband suddenly started working late on Wednesday nights, and he never works late on Wednesday nights. And when he is going to work late, he never tells me until late Wednesday afternoon, and then he is non-responsive to my texts. Then they hop on the internet, start searching for private investigators, pick up the phone, and start calling them. What they're looking for is a PI to go out this Saturday, or in a couple of days, or tomorrow, or even worse, tonight. And in most cases, waiting is not an option from the client's perspective. I know if there's a pattern, then waiting 2 weeks makes perfectly good sense to us, but not to the client. They made their decision to act now, and they have been pondering this decision for weeks, months, or maybe even years. So putting it off is not easy. And they will keep calling, trying to find a PI that fits the bill for everything. Timing-wise, can they go out when I need them? This is where your flexibility comes into play. Cost-wise, can they afford it? If you insist on 8 hours a day, well, you probably won't get the job. And the most important thing is, did you answer the phone? I can guarantee you that if you do not answer the phone when they call, you have just lost most chances of getting the job. The client doesn't want to leave a message reliving their nightmare over and over to random people, hoping one will call them back and can help. If you answer the phone, are able to adapt quickly with your schedule, and can go out for shorter periods like 4-hour jobs, you will be more successful in landing these types of cases. Here is the biggest secret of all that most PIs don't know about domestic-related cases, and the reason most don't know is because they didn't watch the entirety of this video to get to this one very important detail. You can and should charge more per hour for domestic-related cases, but never sell on the hourly rate. Sell these cases on the total cost for that 4-hour or that 6-hour period. If you normally charge $100 an hour, plus mileage and travel time, then charge $125 for these cases. Now a 4-hour surveillance looks like this. 1 hour of travel time on each side, 2 total hours, plus the 4 hours of surveillance equals 6 total hours, which equals $750. Add in another $100 to cover mileage, and now your day is $850. Yes, ma'am, we can go out tomorrow and get that taken care of. The cost will be $850, which will cover the 4 hours of surveillance, all the travel time, mileage, research, and report time. All we need to do is get the contract and retainer in place. Staying below $1,000 is huge with these types of cases today, and being able to act quickly is even bigger for the client. It takes so much off their mind. And for you, well, you make almost as much in that 4-hour day as you do in an 8-hour day, and you have time prior to doing the surveillance to get other work done. And the reports for these types of cases should really be a quick 1-page, 1-paragraph summary type report with maybe 1 or 2 photos attached. Now I know there's a lot more you probably want to know about surveillance and other things that private investigators do, so check out this video.